Hey, so what's good, YouTube? Welcome to the channel, to Shanisha. So on this one, I want to speak about narcissism, and I just want to answer the question like, why are not enough people aware of narcissism? So basically, narcissism is a form of abuse. It's a form of abuse that you cannot easily see. So there are three kinds of abuse. There's your physical abuse, there is your verbal abuse, and there is your emotional abuse. So we know physical abuse is like with beatings, like, and then there is the verbal abuse with your words, and then there is emotional abuse. Now, the emotional abuse, this affects your emotional state. This is very deep, and narcissism falls into this group, this category. And like our emotional state, our emotional frame, our emotional health. These are things that, firstly, they've been known to be taboo, a taboo subject, but also these are things that you cannot easily see. These are things like which are our feelings, our emotions, our beliefs, and what our beliefs of others, etc. So yeah, these are our perceptions, this is our self-esteem and things like that that are not so tangible. You cannot easily see it, and also it makes it more difficult to understand it and explain these things, so yeah. So we know in life, like we need to have a healthy emotional state, to function out in life. Basically, we need emotional health, and this is where the narcissism sets us up, because this is like a toxic gas in the air that you smell it, you experience its negative effects, but you cannot grasp and attach hold of it. So this is the reason why also like narcissism is not so easily known, because people don't speak about it because it's not something so tangible. Yeah, and this is the elephant in many rooms that keeps killing far too many people, And so in this video, I just wanna open up the discussion. So narcissism basically is typical of behaviors like your manipulation, your control, your passive aggressive behaviors, and we know also that, like, if you're Christian, you will know, or you should know, that the devil was the first narcissist. And we know that narcissists love to put up a facade, they love to perform and pretend, wear a mask, pretend that they're something that they're not. And we know that with the Bible story in the garden there, this is just the character that the devil portrayed with Adam. I mean, with Eve. He performed, he lied, he pretended that he is something that he is not. And, like, yeah, he set her up basically. So we know that narcissism comes with the lie, with the pretense, with the performance. That is what the devil did in the garden there. And so basically, another thing to know about narcissism is that many times this comes unprovoked, it stems from within that narcissistic person. It stems from their own low self-esteem. They probably struggle with things like insecurity and jealousy. They lack inner peace, inner calm, And yeah, so this is unprovoked on your part many a time. That's very important to know. Another thing I want to mention that this is as I said, it's like a toxic gas in the air affecting you, but you can't grab it, you can't hold it. And um, adding to this point, I just want to mention that actually these people are monsters inside. They're really wicked, evil people, but they don't show you the on the face, you know. And this is why we keep getting tripped up by these people, you know. Yeah. So this is hidden. This is covert. This is hidden. Out on the face, they'll wear a smile, but inside they have hateful, harmful thoughts and wishes, you know, toward you. So another point I have here is that, you know, like we need to in order to identify narcissism, we need to have the ability to know and label one's own emotions. And this is emotional intelligence. And this is something that we're not taught from childhood, like you know, like just to a place like how am I feeling? Am I feeling you know, like um am I feeling like weird or strange or challenged or you know like but many a times like in society we just taught to not really understand and investigate these feelings, you know, that we may experience and just to get on with life and just to be happy. So yeah. Then I also want to add here that you can't defeat the enemy if you don't know the name of the enemy, because then you're fighting a losing battle. You're fighting in the dark, you know, like so. It's important to come to a place where you know what you're dealing with, especially with regard to the narcissism. You know, like so yeah, I said like in childhood, you know, like we are not taught how to identify our emotions and how we feel. So we need to grow to an understanding still where we can manage our emotions, where we can recognize and respond to others' emotions, and then also yeah, this is crucial for healthy relationships, because when we in relationships we need to you know, be aware of like how is this person making us feel, and also what are my effects on them, you know, like what are um the effects I intend, and maybe how is it coming across, kind of a thing. All these things are emotional intelligence, and as I mentioned that we are not taught these things, these skills as children. And this is also what leads to many people falling into narcissistic relationships and even remaining stuck because we don't have the skill, you know, like to understand and even manage our own emotions and those emotions that we experience from being in relation. So this is also one of the reason why many of us are not aware of narcissism. And then also, yeah, so now, you know, like we need to basically come to a place where we're able to like earlier detect the red flags in relationships, and where you're able to see any red flags, and you just need to keep a healthy distance, put up your boundaries, and just behave cordial in relationship, but not giving. Basically, you need to, um, like watch the behavior patterns there, and just the boundaries to protect yourself. So, some questions to ask yourself are like, are people in your circle, are they positive, are they supportive? You know, what is the energy like? Because energy is contagious. If you in a negative environment, you're gonna draw of that negative energy and be influenced, affected, impacted by the negative energy. And so, like, just look at the people in your circle, like, are they supportive, are they uplifting, as I said. And if not, you need to come to a place where you let them go, like, let them go. And if there's no respect, if there's no mutual give and take from both sides, it's not a healthy dynamic, then you need to let people go, and no explanation is necessary. Like, people grow apart, and that is a part of life. And we have just but one life, and sometimes cutting dead weight and bad people off opens you up to coming to a place where you can um, receive more healthier, compatible friendships, relationships, is what I mean to say. So, so this whole like narcissist thing, like, so this is, I mentioned that this is why many of us, some of the reasons many of us don't know about it. But then also some of the effects of this narcissism, it can actually have you looking crazy to others. It can keep you silent, keep you from finding your higher voice. It can keep you isolated and just hold you back in life. Um, and I mean, we're not called to be victims in it's not a nice place to be, also to be a victim in your own life. So yeah. So the the awareness is very important. So as I said, this narcissism, being in relationship, it eats and destroys your emotional well-being, your reality, your perception, your self-esteem, and it messes up your life in many ways. It can undermine your life, your livelihood, your relationships, your health, and so um, it's not fair that anyone should suffer from this, and even more worse, suffering alone from this, and so we just wanna um, like, speak that we can empower more with regard to mental health, because it's currently it's like a stigma speaking about mental health, and these are some of the mental issues. And if we aren't able to speak about mental health and learn about mental health, understand mental health, then this is how we stay stuck in toxic dynamics like this. So this is just bringing more awareness to this topic of narcissism, like what to look for, some of the behaviors I mentioned, and just to check your circle, and what to do also if you're finding yourself in a situation like this, like, you're not forced to be in relationship with anybody. And so, yeah, sometimes it's super tricky also, because this can be in your family dynamic, there can be a narcissistic parent or sister, what have you, and yeah. So even there are ways of adjusting your behavior to the person, just as I mentioned earlier, like, just remain cordial, and your boundaries. So these are things, these are lines, what have you, that you put up to protect you. It's like saying yes and saying no when you feel that like that is the best outcome for you. Basically, this is like having your best interest at heart, and not um, being manipulated and influenced to yeah to obey, because these people can be very controlling as well. Like, you you need to come to a place where you do what's good for you, and you're not being controlled by these people in your life, basically made a victim. Yeah, so I said a lot, but either way, this is just answering and unpacking why many of us don't know about narcissism. It's not taught, and then it's like an emotional um, form of emotional abuse, and the emotions is not something so tangible. It's like what we feel, how we feel, and it's always been a taboo to speak about this in public. So we need healing in that regard, and just awareness, and openness. And yeah, said a lot. I just hope it can be a blessing, and I'll see you on the next one. The one passion should be out.